So Positive Change is a comprehensive inmate canine training program that we developed to help give hope and opportunity to incarcerated people and pets. I founded Marley's Mutts 14 years ago. We started Positive Change almost 8 years ago.
Okay.
Positive Change started after a friend of mine got out of prison, 13 years, incarcerated at 17, got out when he was 30, and had very much been worn down by the prison system. He was nearly feral when he got out of prison.
Wow.
I don't mean to say that disparagingly. I just meant it was very difficult for him to have personal relationships, to talk to a man without having some sort of a complicated size up scenario, to interact with a woman. All of these things were brand new to him. And he, wrestled with drugs in prison. And I gave him a dog when he got out, a dog that I was fostering, Shadow. She'd been shot in the chest. We had to remove 2 lobes of her lungs. She's just a beautiful pit bull. And that dog changed everything about his life.
Wow.
Changed every aspect of, well, first it gave him the ability to love himself. And it gave him the ability, just like it did when I was getting sober, to take one step at a time with your dog with you when you were too intimidated or scared to do it on your own.
Can you explain that?
Yeah. I mean, I think for a lot of us who are, whether it's newly sober or if you've been incarcerated, for me anyway, I was scared of people, places, and things, terrified of people, places, and things. I did not know how to have, whether it be vulnerable interactions or just day-to-day interactions with people sober. I had not been sober my entire life.
Right.
But my dog Marley, just like Shadow did for him, allowed me to face the day, allowed me to put one foot in front of the other, get myself out of my shell, and start to have interactions, start to go to the market, start to go to the hospital. I bring my dog everywhere.
Yeah.
And it started to help me break loose of that oppressive, that oppressive feeling that just kept me locked inside of myself. It's, by myself, the simplest things were difficult. Trying to go to the supermarket, trying to do anything I needed to do for myself was terrifying. You give me my dog, you give me a 95-pound Rottweiler pit bull, I can breathe. If say I'm interacting with you, if I'm nervous about the interaction, we got our dog to talk about.
Yeah.
We have some common denominator.
Yeah.
We can relate about that.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, people always want to relate about your dog.
For sure.
If it's just 2 people talking, especially if there's no alcohol involved, it might be kind of awkward.
Yeah.
You might struggle through a little bit of the,
Especially if that's been a part of the way that you've interacted for so long. When
Totally.
you take something out, there's a big hole there.
Totally.
And you fill it with that dog.
And then you introduce a dog like that, and you got something to talk about. You're talking about their dog, you're talking about him, and all of a sudden you have this bond, this friendship, this common denominator that you're bonding over. And for me, that was critically important, and for Robbie it was as well. And his life, I mean, when I met him, there was very little eye contact. I could tell this was a person that was really struggling to understand where he fit in society. And then after we gave him Shadow, he started giving his testimony with me. He started speaking about his incarceration. He started speaking about his recovery. He started talking about his experience as a gang member. He started talking about all of these things. And you just saw him grow and grow. And I think he would tell you his experience was, as well as what mine was, is that I started to be able to love myself. You can't have a dog like that, a bond with a dog like that is just feeding you undying, unconditional love, and not have some of it land, and have you start to love yourself some. Yeah. And for me, that was my lifelong struggle, is loving myself. That is my lifelong struggle. But for whatever reason, when that blinding love is communicated through a dog's eyes and through a dog's body language, it lands. And you kind of feel yourself. I don't know if you've ever done this, but man, if I've had a day, I come home and I crawl on the ground with my beta, I just feel it and you go, oh God, all right, good. Yeah. And you root down into that love and you root down into that vibration. Yeah. Dogs have just the best vibration, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, to make a long story short, I saw when Robbie got out of prison, he had very little hope that he was going to succeed. There was not much, out there for him. You give him that dog and he starts to build confidence. He starts to build self-esteem. He starts to build experience. He starts to face fears that he didn't think he could face. And then all of a sudden we've hired him. And then after, he was our ranch manager, he went on to start his own organization called Strength of Shadow. So now he's, a formerly incarcerated gang member to a nonprofit, director and awesome. and making an incredible impact in his community. And so after that, I knew that we had to try to get rescue dogs into prison.